That is the place that I was born.
Okay.
And as I grew up and started working, one of the things that I realized was that I didn't know much. I knew very little when it comes to work environment and working with other people, working with colleagues, teamwork and collaboration. And so, for instance, my boss at the time put me on a course that I should go and do a course on communication. Because when he's talking to me, I'm not responding. You know, this is a white man, he's a German, and they speak their mind, and you know our upbringing is different. You just listen to the instructions and go and do as you are told, and he's expecting me to give feedback, and it's not coming. And so he had to put me on a course to go and learn communication. And just to cut a long story short, these were some of the things that I found myself lacking. And then I got the privilege of being exposed to trainings. Some of the trainings were done in Ghana. Some of the trainings were done in Germany because of the organization that I was working with. It had German roots. So they'll take you there and teach you how to communicate, how to work with others, how to work in a team, and how to, interact with people and all that. So I realized that this is something that we don't have being taught in our schools. I had gone up to university and I have not been taught, even as a trained teacher with all the psychology they taught us. It is limited. When it comes to the workplace and interacting, if you're a teacher, you're a teacher in your classroom and you have very little interaction with other teachers if you don't create that environment for yourself. And when I realized that this is something that we are lacking in this country, and it's causing many of us, therefore, not to blossom to our maximum level. I mean, the potential is there. The person can deliver. And yet, some way, somehow, because of some exposure we don't have and some things that were said to us growing up and all that, it affects our confidence level, and we are not able to come out the way that we are supposed to come out. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, then we are talking about knowing my own emotions, understanding my emotions, and what to do with those emotions. How do you feel at every time? And then there's a second part of it. So when you know your emotions, then you are able to control. So if you are angry in the market and you decide to remove your shirt, fine, you're expressing your anger. It will land you somewhere. Another person will use the mouth to communicate the anger for the person to know that what you are doing, I don't like it. The two are both expressions. So there is the knowing part and the control for you as an individual. Then the other block is my ability to also tell the emotions of other people, because you are going to live with other people. You are not an island on your own. And so what about the emotions of other people? How do I understand the emotions of other people? How do I interpret their emotions, and how do I respond to their emotions? Then you are showing that you are emotionally intelligent. So maybe you are living with your wife, or you are living with your husband. There is a certain emotion of joy that your husband or your wife is showing. How do you respond to the joy? There are people who are not happy, or let me say, I shouldn't say they are not happy. There are people who are sad just seeing other people happy.
So but in I'm just concentrating on this because I realize that, especially this year, when we started talking about the mental health and stuff like that, we realized that suicide cases are just on the rise. Day in, day out, people either attempt suicide or even have some sort of suicidal thoughts. And some of the reasons sometimes can be very shocking, that maybe at work site somebody is not making them happy, or sometimes some people feel like I am not really good enough, I'm not achieving much, so feeling like disappointed at themselves. So I just want to know, and I know listeners would equally want to know this. With emotional intelligence, how can I harness it to benefit me in terms of handling people to kind of like give them hope? I'm talking in terms of sometimes some people feel depressed and all that. Like, how can I harness emotional intelligence to handle people in a way that they will always have the feeling of there's hope for future?
That's right. So in my study of emotional intelligence, I came across the background. Where did it start from?
Okay.
Because not too long ago, a lot of us thought that emotions are rival to reasoning.
Okay.
You see, so
I still have that that thought.
All right, then you're in good company.
Okay.
I'm going to help you.
Right.
So you had statements and comments like don't be emotional, be reasonable, don't be sentimental about the issues. Indirectly, they are telling you that the expression of your emotion is not in the line of reasoning.
Okay.
But this is, now we know there is emotional intelligence. Yeah. That tells you there is intelligence with emotions.
Right.
Okay. So that was how we taught. And in 1983, one gentleman did a doctoral thesis. And one of the positions he came out with strongly was that many of the difficulties and challenges we have, the guy's name is Leon Payne, 1983, he did that work. And he says that many of the stress and many of the sicknesses and even fighting and war that we see, even war, are as a result of the fact that we've not dealt very well with our emotions. The fact that we are emotionally ignorant.
Okay.
That was the point he made, that we are emotionally ignorant, and it leads us into a lot of states that eventually get to affect us. Not to take us too far. If you know a bit of the story of Adolf Hitler, for instance, that's a classical example that if emotions are not well handled and dealt with, you will express it in a way that is detrimental to yourself and to others. Okay. So this gentleman is the one who started this whole revolution of this is 1983. 1983 is not too far away,
Yeah, but I wasn't born.
I was born then.
Yeah.
But it tells you that this whole idea of emotional intelligence is not too far away. Okay. Right. So now we know that emotions are part of us. We know you don't decide to feel sad.
Right.
No one just decides that I want to feel angry now. And there are chemicals and things that are in our bodies that bring out these emotions. You respond to them. You hear a certain music and you miss some people. It's not the music that came to enter you and move things, but there are some things inside you that are responding, chemically speaking, to the music. Okay. So if we look at it that way, then it means if someone is in a certain state that the person is thinking suicidal, you must understand that there are emotions inside the person that the person themselves did not intentionally call them into being. But probably responding to events or people or some things around them, and is making them do some of the things they are doing. So if you come from that position, then you are now in a position to help.
Okay,
to assist.
Let me just chip in this. I think this is where I get to have the understanding that we are always making fun of myself and a few others. We always make fun of mental health nurses, saying that they make the profession look like when you begin to handle mental health patients, you eventually become one. So it means that you need to bring yourself to the all right, so this is now understandable.
Yeah.
But there's always this. I always had this understanding that emotions are 90% of the times wrong, but reasoning is 90% of the time right. So that's why I was now getting that. Okay, emotions are like when you made a statement. Emotions are rivalry to reasoning. I said, well, I'm still in that. Okay.
Can you imagine an emotion like love?
Okay.
Is it positive or negative? Do you know that people have killed because of love?
Wow.
Love as it is. People have killed. Kill others, shoot themselves also at the end. Because someone says, I don't love you. Or someone says, the love is finished. So,
the love was
I want him. I want her.
Okay.
And if I don't get him, I don't get her, then no one else will have him or her. And it's an emotion.
Okay.
And this person, it's an emotion of love. So this thing, it's about emotions.
Right.
Okay? And don't make it look like someone has committed a crime just by feeling a certain emotion.
Right.
That is not a crime. What you do with the emotion is what the issue is.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I said this same love, someone can get the good out of another person because of love. This same love as an emotion, which is still good, someone can kill because of that. So it's really what you do with the emotion that determines whether it's a positive one or it's a negative one.
Right.
I mean, the last time Jesus got angry in a temple,
oh boy,
it was anger.
He scattered.
He scattered,
right.
And he utilized that. You see the thing. Someone else comes to him, and as the Bible will say, the guy asked the question, and he looked at him with love and gave him a response. Right. You see, so it's the same love, it's the same emotion. But at another point, you need. So the emotion in itself is not bad. What you do with it. If you feel sad, what do you do with it?
Right. There are some points in time that some people say that it is difficult. This one is difficult to forgive. I can never forgive on this one. If a person gets to the point that the person feels like I can't do this anymore, as an expert, I don't know. Is it possible to have a turnaround at that moment? And
more than possible.
And like basically, what basic steps should someone take to have a turnaround, or should I take to help a colleague have a turnaround?
It is possible, and it is simple, but is difficult. So
that is where emotional intelligence comes up. It's simple and difficult. I look like I'm confused.
And it's something that is done in a split second.
Okay.
It's the word pause.
Okay.
Pause.
All right. Right.
The moment you have a certain eruption of emotion, if you are just able to pause, that is the first step.
Okay.
Just the pausing is the first step. The next step is to think about the issue differently.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the way I'm thinking about it, and it's bringing a certain emotion. Can I shift it? They say that if a child urinates on your laps, you don't cut it off. You don't throw away a baby with the bath water.
Right.
You know, if you were going to just react there and then, you will cut it off, or you throw away the baby with the bath water.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of pausing and thinking about the thing differently. So someone does something and is very offensive. Okay, you get offended. Thinking about it differently could be the person doesn't know what he or she is doing. The person may not even know the extent to which this thing may be hurting me or damaging me. You know, that's a way of, even before you hear the person's side. That is why the word is forgive. Before. You give it before it is even requested. You forgive. And so if the pain is so much and you just think that this person probably doesn't even know, the way you receive the person will be different.
Right.
So that allows you to have a different emotion, because it's the thinking that brought the emotion of not wanting to forgive. Now, when you think about it, I said, first you pause. Number two, you think about it differently. When you think about it differently, it allows a different kind of emotion. Imagine someone is being nailed to the cross, and the person says, those who are nailing him and knocking the hammer, they don't know what they are doing. As in, they don't know hammer is hammer, or they don't know a nail is a nail,
or they don't know the blood coming out.
They can't see, but it's a way of thinking about the matter differently. That is when you can say forgive them. If you don't think about it differently, you cannot forgive.
Right.
You get me?
Right.
So it's a matter of, it is a pausing part that is difficult. Because it's you holding yourself in check.
Right.
When I do my training, there is this image that I use. It's somebody using the hand to control the mind, kind of. So for me to be able to control myself, I should like grab myself back and say, hey, hold on.
Right.
It is that pausing that is difficult. But it's not difficult if you exercise it more and more. So you are able to just say that, hey, hold on. If I want to open my mouth now, what I'll say to my boss, what I'll say to my colleague, what I'll say to my spouse, it may damage the person for life.
Yeah.
I just pause and you just breathe on it a little and think about it differently.
Right.
The person doesn't know. The person may not understand. The person may not appreciate. Even when they do, it's if you go this route, you see really that people don't intentionally want to hurt you.
Right.
People don't intentionally want to cause you pain. It's a slip.
Yeah.
They make a mistake.
Right.
And sometimes if you bring it to their notice, they apologize. And you should accept the apology. And so it may be difficult to forgive and all that because of the way you are thinking about it. And he did it the last time. And he's done it again. Who does he take me for? Why does he think me I'm just nobody? We are all colleagues. We are all at the same level. Who does he think he is? That he should say that to me. And he's just walking over me. And what will others even think? If I don't give it back to him and let him know that I'm not just that weak. People will think that I'm a weak person. And then this other person will come in. That kind of thinking. Yeah. And it's all at the level of the mind.
Right.
You are just thinking all these things in your mind, and as you are thinking them, it's hitting you up, and you're boiling, and you're boiling, and you're boiling, and eventually you want to go that route and release.
Yeah.
If you want to have emotional intelligence, it says that you pause, think about it differently.
Okay.
And when we do live sessions, we take people through it.
Right.
And as you take people through it, and we start from you have a behavior you yourself did and you didn't like. I mean, you don't know where we are going.
Yeah.
So have you identified the behavior? People will say, yes, I have the behavior. When you behave that way, what were you feeling? They say, oh, I was angry and I slapped the person. The slapping is the behavior. But before the slap, the emotion is the anger. What got you to have that emotion is what were you thinking? Right. And then when we go into it, you hear things like, I was thinking that this guy doesn't respect me and this person doesn't want me around. He doesn't like me. He's been doing things that suggest he doesn't like me. So that is a thinking. And then you ask the person, now that you did it and you don't like what you did, could you have thought about the incident differently? You'll be shocked what people tell you. It's true. I could have thought about it differently. Because this guy, honestly speaking, when I came to the office, he was the first person to even welcome me. You see, but all of a sudden, all this thing has been forgotten because you are not thinking in that line.
Right.
If you start thinking in that line, you see that all the positives also now start showing up, and you now think that, oh, well, to err is human.
Very
Me
good.
too, I err. Me too, I offend people. So why should I be too hard on somebody?
Mm.
Then it makes it easier
Right.
for you to, you know,